Oi, you two! The grounds are currently closed.
Oh man, that totally sucks. And we came all the way out here with these foreign exchange students on a field trip through England.
Where from?
Texas?
Good day everybody, this is the Ecclesiarch here, back with some more Horus Heresy Legions, and today we are going to be delivering yet another Imperial Fist deck, and this time it's going to be on Camba Diaz. Now Camba Diaz most probably is the most competitive of the Imperial Fist Warlords, even though, as you remember, I made a pretty good Alexis Pollux deck that works quite well. I still think that Camba Diaz will remain as the most competitive of the Imperial Fist Warlords. Even when Sigismund was dominating, this was still a good pick, though when Sigismund was like super powerful, maybe he was a bit better than Camba, but at any point of the game, this Warlord is just pretty good. Now, everybody had forgotten about this guy for some reason, and then after the Imperial Fist buffs, well, everybody started to pick him up again. When I was playing like last season with Mortarion, I used to face these guys a lot, and you know, I don't think that the buff affected Camba Diaz specifically that much. It was a good buff, but Camba Diaz was good even without those buffs. So, you know, without further ado, let's take a look at the deck and let's see what exactly makes this Warlord so good. So this deck is a swarm deck, as you probably guessed, because his ability is to summon a unit, right? In this case, this is going to be a sentry turret, which is a 1/2, which has a relentless of deal 2 damage to a random enemy. And the whole build that Camba Diaz runs is basically based around using said ability, right? And turrets and just abusing it to the maximum. Now, we are going to have a whole lot of things that combo with us having turrets. Now, first of all, apart from having your Warlord ability, you need other abilities to summon turrets. And one of the things is going to be, of course, Kestros, because overall, a very solid Imperial Fist card with 3 energy 2/3 that summons another turret. Always a very nice card, especially when you can counterattack it and make it even harder to get through. Then there's the Perimetral Defenses, which summons 2 of the sentry turrets plus leaves a 2/4 front line, which is also really great. And on top of that, of course, we got the late game Defenders of Terra, but the Defender of Terra, but that doesn't really matter. What matters here is the Fortification Master, which summons 2 sentry turrets. So you always have some sources to get those sentry turrets. Now, I know you might be thinking to get the 3/5 Terminator that summons it at the end of the turn, but that's pretty trashy. I do not recommend using that. Like, Perimetral Defenses is much better. And of course, there are a couple of things that combo with it, like Fortified Outpost, which makes sure that your turrets trigger at the end of the turn as well as the start of the turn. This is one of the strongest cards you got, and you got to be very careful with how you use this card because this is like a win condition. And you have the Sustained Barrage, which is absolutely disgusting because with this thing you can deal a ton of damage to the enemy board just by having like 2 turrets on the board. So this is really, really crazy. Now, apart from that, we're going to have double Stalwart Defenders on this. With Camba Diaz, you always want to have double because you want to make sure that your board is durable, that your board can take up the damage, because all you're looking for is to swarm the board. If you can't swarm the board, you're probably going to lose. Now, you are going to have Lord Malkiel because this is pretty good to give that curve advantage, like to give you that extra energy, and you also have Drilling Sight for that. So this is really, really good because the sooner you can get your Stalwart Defenders going, the better. Sometimes it's even good to Drilling Sight into that. Like, this is a very, very good card. Now, we do have the Haramburg as our legendary, and Haramburg you're looking to combo either with Sergeant Amand, which is super cool legendary, either with Gorhagen Squad just for extra swarm, and Gorhagen Squad, of course, does with swarm decks really well because of that rally that it has to get stronger, more units you have on the board. And of course, you can also use that Fortified Outpost, which can also bring you a lot of value. You can also use it on late game units, but these are going to be your general targets, right? For late game, you got Defender of Terra, you got Phalanx, you got Justice Gunfried, once again another finisher in a win condition. And for the mid game, you got World-Class Whirlwinds because of the perfect rally that they have, and Phalanx Warders because this is like a powerful frontline tool whenever you have Stalwart Defenders on. And there's like 100 removal here with Retribution Strike just to deal with that. And for early game, we got 1 shield cover because honestly, I could not think of anything to replace it with. Maybe Kaizo Lane could be good, but some sort of cycle is always nice to have there. And we have double Praetorian Recruit. Praetorian Recruit was buffed, and it's really, really good. Now, I do think you need to have Command Bridge, because Command Bridging into Phalanx or Retribution Strike or Defender of Terra can actually save you your game. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the couple of games that I played today with Camba Diaz, and it was pretty crazy because after getting my butt kicked by playing Ayrton Masad, lost a lot of games with him, honestly, and Sal Niberon as well. Was trying to build some Imperial Army Warlords, and maybe I'm gonna be able to do that in a bit. But when I switched to Camba, because I wanted to make a video on him, I went on like a crazy victory spree. So, let's actually take a look at the couple of games, right? Now, Raven Guard is actually a pretty interesting matchup in general, but before we get to that, let's look at the Ferrus Manus matchup. Now, the Ferrus Manus matchup is actually a pretty fun one because in most cases he doesn't have anything to answer you with. I decided not to swap out anything because this is a nice hand. However, I could decide to ditch Fortification Mastery in favor of something better. Now, since we go first, we just want to drop a turret, and honestly speaking, we do want to counterattack that as well. Because this way Ferrus Manus cannot take it out right on his turn, and he has to commit an extra card to do that. Which he does not do in this case. He just decides to do Academy Axe because maybe he did not have anything for that, so he just strikes. Now this is super good because this gives us great initiative, because now not only do we have a turret, we can get Kestros on, which is gonna summon another turret, and since we have bird control like that and the enemy is like a more passive warlord in general, we can attack, we can go face. Then he decides to drop Harbic Squad, which is not that good, because even with the Augmentic Heart, I have serious board control right now, and if I want, I can also drop the Fortified Outpost, which is just gonna ruin his day. Now here, I believe I do get pretty lucky. I think both of the turret shots go over there. There we go. I could choose to Fortified Outpost right now, but it's always better to just go with your Stalwart Defenders, because the sooner you have Stalwart Defenders on, the bigger power spike you have, because Stalwart Defenders is like a core card for Imperial Fist, as you guys might know. So he takes out Kestros, and now we have a pretty good board. But if you take a look, he drops a big bad boy from Academy Axe. That is pretty scary, but despite that, we still have pretty good board control. So here we have had the choice. I could just go face bash into that, but I just decided to flip a coin and just drop another sentry turret. And unfortunately, it does not end up removing the Morlock Augmenters, but it still does a lot of damage. Ferrus is already down to 27, which is really good. So he starts to like augment his Morlocks. He's going to take out my Fortified Outpost, which is a shame, honestly, because that card could have just won the game already. But despite that, we still have very good board control. Now, the fun thing is, I do top deck here. Even without a top deck, we had some nice plays, but look at this. This is the ideal case, because now I can drop the Whirlwind. And this is why the Whirlwind is so good, you know, because it just it can just clear the board very well. It's 3 targets is really, really nice. So right now we have like insane board control. There's like, I think, no possible way for this guy to get back into this game. Well, there are probably ways, but chances are very low. So he does drop the Arcology, which I'm not sure why he's playing. I mean, Arcology used to be okay on Ferrus, but it's definitely not that good anymore. So I do get the Phalanx for the next turn. I drop Fortification Mastery. And I think I summon another turret. No, Shield Cover. I actually should have started with Shield Cover, because maybe I would have drawn something. Retribution is okay, but I don't want to use it on Arcology. I just want to keep that Arcology alive so it doesn't turn into many units that can disrupt the fire of my turrets. He does Ironclad Punishment, but it's too little too late, because If you take a look at the board, it's swarming. And he drops another power axe section. And yeah, this pew pew with the cannons is terrible. So I do the phalanx because there is a chance that I might draw a win condition here, which I actually do. If you take a look, we got Justici there. I get another Stalwart Defenders on. As I told you, like, Stalwart Defenders might always take priority unless you're just winning the game by doing something else. So look at that. Like, just try take out one of these things. It's almost impossible. He does drop the Heavy Dreadnought though with the augmented leg, which kind of scared me for a second because you know, he managed to regain some board control. But even if he does that, I have too many great things here. I got the Retribution, and I got Justici. I just got a lot of things. Now I do get Sustained Barrage, and by getting Sustained Barrage, honestly, it's like already a GG because the guy has 4 HP. So I just decide to do this and just drop the Sustained Barrage. The reason why I did not attack here is that perhaps one of the Sustained Barrages would have went here and maybe left this guy on 2 HP, and then I want to manually finish him off. If you think about it, this gave me more chances to finish off the guy, RNG wise, but it still went to his face, so doesn't really matter. Now, the Brandnev games were actually very funny. Reason for that being, let me show you one little thing that maybe some of you guys also don't know, so this will be a good lesson for you. Some people, there's a lot of people who still don't know the interaction between Sentenced and, what's it called again, oh my god, and Bastion. So the thing is, when you remove a unit's Bastion, it is not considered as damage. So whenever you damage the enemy Bastion, it's not considered as actual damage. You know what I mean? So it's not like Drop Pod. If you damage a Drop Pod, it still counts as damage, so Sentence is gonna trigger. But unless you did HP damage, Bastion does not allow Sentence to be triggered. And this guy did not know that, I think. Maybe he did not know that, or maybe he just misplayed, but you're gonna see what's gonna happen here. So it's a very good example of why you want to be careful with that. So we drop this, and we do the shield cover. So now we have this free Bastion turret. So what he decides to do actually here, which I was surprised, is he does the Predatory Strike on it. And this is the moment I knew that he messed it up, because it was impossible for him to just know it and waste that card. So as you can see, it did not trigger. It does not trigger because of the Bastion, right? But the funny part is, I think the guy did not notice that he did that. Let me show you why. So we do this, and here I just decide to drop Amand as well as Malkial, which is a pretty good play, because if he starts whacking Amand with his Sentence, that's gonna be a lot of Bastion. But look at this. And yeah, and he attacks and it doesn't trigger again, so he has to surrender. I think he either showed those cards off, or he did not know that that was gonna happen once again. So he did not learn his lesson, or maybe he just did it because he already knew he had lost. Now, then we play the second game, and that actually once again shows why Kambadias can be very, very toxic, because there's a lot of these games where the opponents just decide to surrender and do nothing else. So here I just get Sustained Barrage. The reason why I do this is because the Raven Guard actually get a lot of stealth troops, and sometimes Sustained Barrage is going to be the perfect way to just counter it. Here I was thinking of maybe dropping Fortified Outpost, but Amand came, so there's Amand. So by dropping Amand, you kind of already put a big bane on the Raven Guard, because it's very hard for them to deal with Amand unless they have like direct source of damage. So he stuns it, but now he has a very, very dangerous choice. I just drop a Fortified Outpost, and now he gets to choose. What is he gonna do? Attack the outpost or attack Amand? Attacking the outpost is gonna be very hard. So once again, take a look at this. He attacks. First, there's the Bastion. Then he attacks again, and Bastion does not let the sentence trigger, so he has to surrender once again. So that sentence into Bastion interaction is very important. Now, I did have a more interesting game over here. This was a game against another Brand Nev who actually took the control of the board early very, very well. And this kind of put me in a very bad situation. I even thought that maybe I was going to lose this, but fortunately I managed to regain the control of the board because Kambadias really does have that comeback potential because of his ability to just swarm the board. Now this is already pretty bad for me because he already has a 3-2 on the board, so he's not going to let me swarm. But that's exactly why I don't just play Kestros, I just drop a turret once again. And this doesn't go too well for me because then he drops another guy, which a Tovardus squad, which is pretty scary, honestly. This is the better version of the Torvak squad that they used to have before. Was it Torvak squad? Whatever it was, the random one. And now I'm in a very bad situation. So look, he has 2 units with 3 damage, and this is not looking too good. So I just have to drop Kestros at this point because there's nothing really that I can do. Now here is a very interesting thing. So yeah, he trades. He guerrilla strikes that. And for some reason he decides that it's a good idea to do this, which I think was not a good idea. Yeah, he damaged me and he dropped another unit, but now instead of having 1 unit, he has 2 units. And instead of having 2 units, he has 1 unit, which already puts him at a disadvantage because if he had 2 units, he would have cleared this much easier. But now he cannot do that because he doesn't have the firepower. So against Kambadias, it's always better not to do it. Okay, I understand. I would have still taken it out with an auto attack, but still, you always want to make sure that you leave the board in your control. Don't just go face against Kambadias. You need to control the battlefield and then you can go face. Now it's kind of over because, well, if you take a look, there's really not much that he can do. I don't think that he lost because of that one mistake. No way. He did not lose because of that, but I think it was still better to just leave it because maybe I was not gonna get the perimetral defense and I would have to summon a turret, and you know, he would effectively block me from summoning a turret because every time you leave something on your side of the board, Kambadias has to commit to attacking it to remove it, which means he's not summoning turrets, and if he's not summoning turrets, that's a good thing. Next was Mortarion, who also I think surrendered pretty early. Now, as I mentioned, last season I played a lot of Mortarion and there were a lot of Kambadias opponents, and this matchup is honestly dependent on only one thing. Are you going to be able to get your front bastion early on? And I did. I got Sergeant Amand, I got Stalwart Defenders, so this is already going to be very hard for Mortarion because the problem here is Mortarion's poison takes out the turrets very easily, right? But if you have stuff like Amand and Stalwart Defenders, then Mortarion gets into a very bad position because he cannot just one-shot those turrets anymore because it needs 3 damage now. So here what I do is I just hit the Stalwart Defenders, or no? Oh, okay, hey, I do an even better thing. Actually, this is better, yeah. I take control of the board, and the reason why I didn't hit the Stalwart is I can attack with Amand and put my turrets on 3 Bastion, and that's already a GG, honestly, because unless he has like orbital combat, he's done, which he doesn't have, and at this point he just has to surrender because, you know, there's nothing he can do. Next turn there's gonna be another Stalwart Defenders, another attack, and I'm just gonna go crazy on him. Okay, the Kabanda matchup, however, was pretty interesting. I would even say it was pretty difficult. Now, Kabanda in general is not a good matchup for you because, first of all, he has that Unstoppable, which is crazy good, and he's very aggro, so he doesn't have a problem taking control of the board. Now, here I think I actually make a mistake. Whenever you have Praetorian Recruit, you should use the Praetorian Recruit with a counterattack on it because this sets the unit up for the next turn. But instead, I just drop a turret, which I think was a mistake because that turret is not going to be that much useful. Fortunately for me, it does go face, which is good. Not face, I mean, it goes to the unit, which is nice. But now I have to attack that unit with the face and take 4 damage, which is never really that good. So I think Praetorian Recruit might have been a better idea there. So then he drops this bad boy, which is pretty scary because usually people don't play this, but he got it from Parting the Veil, so it's kind of scary. Now, I just decide to do Stalwart Defenders. This is going to drop my initiative a lot, but having Stalwart Defenders early means that whenever I drop the Phalanx Warders on the upcoming turns, Kambanda is not going to have a good time. Now here he does another very annoying thing. Honestly, I did not expect him to have that, but there you go. He drops this monster on me, basically. Fist of Fire Pyra, and... Wait a minute, he dropped what? Wait a minute, where the hell did he get this? Oh yeah, this is not a lesser demon. Yeah, sorry about that. For a moment I had a brain freeze. I thought it was a legacy card. Anyway, so I have to take a lot of damage to my face, so I'm down at 18, and against Kambanda that is never good. However, I do have my Phalanx Warders now, and I'm just gonna drop those bad boys and I'm just gonna spend the turn. Because 6 HP on them, like 3 HP, 3 Bastion, is already gonna be very scary. Plus my Malkial is building his defense, and that's what he does. That unit has to attack because it has Berserk. Kambanda still goes face, which I think was a mistake actually. He should have taken out the Phalanx Warder because that thing is now gonna start getting stronger and stronger. So what I do here is I begin with shield cover. It's gonna put my HP up, plus it's gonna draw me a card, see if I get anything interesting. I do get the Phalanx, which is really good, and then I drop another Phalanx Warder. And at this point, if he doesn't have the Fracture in time, which he did not have, this game is going to turn around. He does drop one of his own Phalanx Warders, which is annoying, honestly, and he drops a frog! Oh my god! Oh, I lost the game. It's a 1-3. Oh. Yeah, he drops the frog. But I decide to do the Phalanx because I got a perfect turn here. Not only am I gonna get 4 energy back, I can get 5 and even 6. So that's really good. So what I decide to do is do this, and drop an outpost. And I'm not gonna attack because his Phalanx Warders are not gonna get any stronger, but mine are getting stronger every single turn. So cha-ching. That's like great value. He attacks that, and I think he does, yeah, Warp Assault. So he's trying to take out those fortified outposts because those are gonna be the bane of his existence. And he decides not to attack. And at this point, I start cleaning the board. Reason I start cleaning the board is very, very simple. I want to swarm it with turrets now. There you go. Fortification Mastery. Then Fortified Outpost. Then we can also do a Command Bridge, which I think I should have done first. Always follow the rule. Card draw first and then act later. And there you go. I got a Sustained Barrage. I'm going to use my Drilling Sight, and now he's going to feel the might of the Sustained Barrage, which is scary as hell. So look at this. With 4 units on the board, so that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So that card dealt 10 damage. Pretty crazy. So I attack face with this, and I attack the frog with Camba Diaz. And now he's gonna take some more damage. 1, 2, 3. And yeah, he's done. Even if he has Fracture in time, he loses here because I can just swarm the board with turrets again and just blow him up. So, super easy. Super easy now. This was not an easy game, I think, but as soon as it turned around a little bit, it became like a joke. So, there you go. And I do get Justicia Gunfight, which is honestly really unfair. That was the one more thing I needed to make his day hell, and that we indeed did, because this thing can deal 18 damage from a full board, so go figure. Alright, so what was the next game that we had here? Oh, Perturabo. This was actually really interesting. This was a close and hard game. Now, against Perturabo, you have to be careful. Because as you know, he has those virus bombs, and it can get very scary. But here's the funny thing about Perturabo. A lot of Perturabos neglect the danger that the turrets bring. There you go. For example, this guy right here. However, I wouldn't say that this was a big mistake, but then there's a Kestros coming up next, so I think it was still better if he had taken that out. But on the other hand, you can argue that having that charge on Perturabo is always good, in case you have to do a panic removal on fortified outpost or something. But now he plays it smart, and he starts removing the turrets. So, overall, he's playing well. Now, the next thing that I actually do here, I decide to shield cover. Why was my emote so late? It was not late in the game, so... Draw, and then summon another turret. Now, he can take this out with precision bombardment because it has ordnance, but he actually has superior firepower, and I think he also takes that out. No, he goes phase. This is not too good, but it's not too bad either, honestly. He needs to keep my health down, so I understand. And now I get Amand, and knowing the fact that he already wasted one of his superior firepower, I can drop Amand with less nervousness. And he does a terrible burning of bot. It was very bad. It dealt 1 damage to everything. That's why I actually hate that card. It's once again RNG bullshit. Still better than defense satellites though. So he plays that, and me having Amand here is actually pretty good. He decides not to attack it, which I understand why, and here I think I just drop 1. I drop a defense fortified outpost. I attack with Amand, and this is actually pretty good, because if he now does virus bombs, it's not gonna take out the board, because once it does 2 damage, this is gonna give everything like Bastion, so it's not gonna keep going. He takes out the fortified outpost, which is absolutely correct. That's what he should have done. And here's the interesting thing here, which I think I actually did pretty correctly. So I decide to drop a turret, and instead of playing fortified outpost, I actually played the Gorhagen squad, and I think this is correct here. And the reason for that being, Perturabo doesn't have his thing charged, and when he doesn't have this thing charged, it means that he really doesn't have anything to take this out, because Perturabo lacks hard removal when it comes to anything which is not vehicles, right? He has to take everything out through direct damage, so I know that it's gonna be a problem for him to deal with the Gorhagen. So we do this, and then we drop a Verklash Whirlwind just to clear. I think I also drop a turret, not Malkiel, right? Yeah, I drop a turret, I attack with Amand. And then I also attack with the Gorhagen squad. Now, the good thing about this is, if he does viral bombs right now, he's gonna suffer a lot more than me, because here I have like 26 HP and he has 14. So he does do the viral bombs, which is gonna deal a lot of damage. It's gonna clear the board, and it's gonna deal a ton of damage, unfortunately. And on top of that, he actually also had the ability to refill his energy and shoot my face. Now, this already shows that he made a pretty good calculation, because if he had gotten lucky next turn, he would have won this game. By lucky, I'll tell you what I mean. Let me just drop some things here, right? So I did that, I dropped the turret, and now look at this. He has 9 energy, and he used Iron Rod Smash. If he had another Attrition Warfare and plus Contrador, I was done, because he would have just charged it, then shoot my face, and then Contrador, and that's gonna be 9 energy, and that's gonna be exactly 12. But here he loses because I have like at least 3 ways of killing him, so I just take him out with the Whirlwind. All in all, he played pretty well. I think he neglected the turrets a few times, but I think considering he still brought me to lethal range, I think he played pretty well. Okay, I think, yeah, then there was the Camba Diaz mirror, which I want to show you. This one was not interesting because I steamrolled the guy because I got very lucky. But this one was very interesting. This one was actually pretty close. So this is a very good hand. I just don't want 2 copies of Sustained Barrage. So let's see what he does here. So he goes first. Now, going first isn't that good in a Kambadias matchup because that counterattack is a very, very strong thing. But since he has the initiative, that's pretty good. Here I get super lucky. If I had not drawn the Praetorian Recruit, I would have been in trouble because this guy already dropped an Amand on me. So, taking that Amand out is crucial. So at 4 energy, I don't remember what he plays. So he plays a Fortified Outpost. That's very scary. Because I'm not sure what to do here. Oh, I remember what I do here. I was thinking of Gorhagen plus counterattack, but now that I got this, I just decided to do this and just attack. Or another thing that I could have done is maybe summon a turret and try Sustained Barrage, but that would have been like very unreliable. So, there you go. Now, he does drop his own perimetral defense, and he attacks. Now, he does not get lucky with this, honestly. I mean, he doesn't get... I wouldn't say he got too unlucky, but he wasn't too lucky either. So, what we do here is we drop a Fortified Outpost, I think. Yeah, we do the Haranburg Fortified Outpost. Reason why I'm doing this is that it's better to make sure that I have 2 of these because their active is absolutely crazy. And I doubt that he's gonna have the firepower to take out everything after I make this thing shoot, because both of them were not gonna go face unless RNG was 2 against me. Which can happen, of course, but sometimes you just gotta go with the flow. So, he summons another one of those guys, and he does Sustained Barrage. Ouch. Which, unfortunately for him, goes face for the most part. And now he's in trouble. Now he's in serious trouble. Because I got the control. Sustained Barrage. Not Sustained Barrage. Fortification Mastery. And he's gonna take a lot of damage. 1, 2. So that's gonna be already 8 damage that he's going to take. Bringing him down close to the HP, well, he was very ahead, but in a Camba Diaz matchup, honestly, that doesn't mean too much. Doesn't really matter if you have HP advantage. Mostly what matters is the board control. And in the board control department, he is losing hard right now. So, and me getting a Kestros is basically a GG, because now I'll drop the Kestros, I'm gonna get the Fortified Outpost, I'm gonna shoot him and go face, and he's gonna get hurt. This is gonna be a lot of damage. This is gonna be how much? 12 damage. Yeah, he's gonna be left at exactly 1 HP. And at this point there's nothing really he can do, because he's not clearing this whole board and also gaining huge board control on top, so it's just not gonna happen. And yeah, he does the Stone Gauntlet. Actually, I do not recommend using the Stone Gauntlet on Camba Diaz. I don't think he really needs it. It's better on Dorn and Pollux. Boom, boom, boom. And we just take him out. Okay, the replay got stuck. Here I just took him out. I guess he surrendered here, and sometimes when your opponent surrenders, the replay bugs. I don't know why. And then we had a second game against the guy. Let's take a look at that as well, and we'll finish it up here. So the second game against him was actually a steamroll. So it was pretty crazy. This time I go first, and he gets to go second, which is pretty good. He drops a... He makes a good play here. He plays the Praetorian Recruit, takes out my turret, and also buffs it. Now here I was thinking, should I or should I not, right? Should I use my own Praetorian recruit to finish that off? And after thinking for a little bit, I decided that, yeah, that's a good idea. I need to finish that off because that thing is gonna get stronger and stronger every turn, and it might become a problem. So I just take it out. Problem is, now he has the initiative. He took it right from my hands, but fortunately for me, he really didn't have anything too great to play here. So I just use my stalwart defenders. And I attack 1-2. Now, me having the stalwart and him not having it is already a huge bonus, because that means that most probably he's gonna lose. But he also plays the stalwart defenders. However, because of that, now I have a huge initiative bonus. Now, I thought maybe drop the phalanx warders, but I instead go for a little gamble, and as due to physics teacher luck, I managed to pull it off. I drop the outpost and his Kaiser lane goes bye-bye. 1 and 2. And at this point he kind of lost the game, because there's not much he can do here. There's not much he can do because I already have like very strong board control. This is not bad. Honestly, this is not a bad card. Maybe on Camba Diaz this might even be better than the Markov squad, but still, if you have place to play Etapai, unless you're like lacking some core cards, I would still prefer Markov squad over the Etapai. So yeah, that's just my opinion, because you could combo Markov squad with Arcamus, you could use it, combo it with Justici, so there's a lot of things you could do with that. And at this point there's literally nothing he can do. There's no way in the world he can take this board back. So this is like already steamrolling the opponent. Yeah, there's a second stalwart and doesn't really matter anymore. So as you guys can see, like one of the problems with Camba Diaz is that a lot of my opponents just keep surrendering, right? The problem is that this Warlord unfortunately is pretty toxic, because he has that ability to just steamroll you so quickly that you already know you have to give up by like turn 4 or 5. So it can be pretty toxic. But in any case, if you guys want to play some competitive Imperial Fist and spread the cancer, here it is, Camba Diaz. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.